And this is where we shall transition. Hi friends, I'm Jess, and welcome to the Hexed Library, where I post reading, writing, book, and planner related content a couple of times a week. Variant 437 here. I am bringing you a recommendation video that I can't actually tell you why I'm recommending you the books, but I will say that it's for Readathon reasons. Obviously by Readathon reasons I mean for the amazing Readathon, which is taking place in the month of June. If you want to know more about that Readathon, I will link Bree's announcement video up in the cards for you. But you know, obviously, because otherwise would I be here even with my Loki shirt and vagueness for all of the chaos reasons? No, I would not be. But again, these are books that you may want to have on your shelves for reasons. Let's go through 5 books. I tried to get one for each genre, but Genfic is not my jam, so it's fine. Okay. Oh, first for fantasy, I bring you Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. Is she thick? Yes, she is. But if you're a fast reader, this would get your team a lot of points. So, if you don't know, Elantris is part of the Cosmere world, which is part of Brandon Sanderson's world. This was the first book from the Cosmere that I read. It is one of my favorites. It follows 2 main characters, Prince Raoden and Princess Serene, and basically they are betrothed to one another. She's on a ship going to his home kingdom. On her way there, he dies. Basically, he gets this thing called the Sheod, which is this magical disease that makes you die, and they throw all of these people into Elantris because they think it is a disease of the Elantrian people. So she's on her way there, he dies, she figures out that she wants to try to help the Elantrian people, or the diseased people, and this is a whole thing. It's a lot of political drama. I'm gonna read you the back of this book because it's a lot of pages, and this, obviously, somebody was paid to concise this down, and I was not that person. Elantris was a place of glory. The capital, Arleon, was home to people transformed into magic-using demigods by the Sheod. But then the magic failed, Elantris started to rot, and its inhabitants became powerless wrecks. In the new capital, Kay, close enough to Elantris to remind everyone what they had lost, a princess arrives ready to seal a political alliance with a wedding, and unite Teod and Arlon. I'm going with Arlon, against religious imperialists, but Raoden, her husband-to-be, is dead. Still determined to fight for Teod and Arlon's freedom, Serene clashes with the high priest Hrathen, but secrets remain in Elantris. The dead and the ruined may yet have a role to play in this new world, because magic still lives. I'm just saying, you might want to have this. You might want to read it. For romance, we have The Garden of Small Beginnings by Abby Waxman. This is the first book in what I'm calling 3 connected stories. Do they at any point tell you that these 3 books are connected? No. But are they? Yes. The Garden of Small Beginnings follows a mother who has 2 small children. She is widowed. She and her sister start going to this gardening thing, and she meets a man there. And obviously, because it's a romance, sparks fly. But obviously, you know, she's dealing with being a widow and grieving that, and dealing with being a single mom who is dating and all of those things. So this also has a lot of like kind of like a found family aspect to it, which I really loved, which every book in this series does. The second is The Bookish Life of Nina Hill, and the third is Adult Assembly Required. That is the order they were published in. This book takes place first timeline wise, and then Nina Hill, you see characters from this, and then Adult Assembly Required, you see characters from both books. So, just saying, it's a thing. As always in books, romance books with small children, they're precocious, they're fun, they get into trouble, they make their mom's life incredibly cringy, and we love that about it. Very good romance, very much enjoyed this story, so highly recommend. For my sci-fi feature, I give you The Wall by Marlon Haushofer. This book follows a lady. I think this is set in the 60s maybe. This is a translated fiction that was written in the 60s, and it does have a very 60s vibe to it. It wasn't translated until the 90s, but it follows our main character. I don't think we ever learn her name throughout the entire book, but she is visiting a family member at this like hunting lodge that they have, and she gets there one night and her relatives, husband and wife, they're like, hey, we're gonna go to town, we'll be back later if you don't want to go. She's like, no, I'm good, I'm gonna hang out here with me and the dog and the cat. And so her family members, they leave, and then the next morning she gets up and they're not there, and she's like, okay, what happened? So she goes outside, their car's not back. She says, well, maybe, you know, they were in a wreck on their way from the town to the hunting lodge. And so she goes on this adventure to like walk to town, and when she's on her way walking to town, she runs into a wall. Except it's a sci-fi wall, it's a metaphysical wall. It doesn't really exist. You can't see it, you can see through it. But it goes as high as she can find, and as deep as she can find, and as wide as she can find. She actually tries to walk the length of it, and at some point realizes that it encompasses too large of an area. But because it's this remote hunting lodge, she doesn't believe that there are any other people. She's able to see through the wall and see that there are, in the distance, another farmhouse, and the husband and wife, I think, are like frozen in time. And as days go on, she's able to watch them just be nothing. So this whole book takes place of her like finding this cow, using her gardening skills and using her skills with knowing what to do with a cow and like all of these things. It's very mundane. It's very much like how to survive after the end of the world thing, but because the wall is never explained and is a sci-fi element of it, and the book would not exist without that element, this is a sci-fi book for that reason. It is described as a Cold War era dystopian adventure and a truly singular feminist classic. So next for Team Stabby Ghosts, aka the horror and mystery team, we have The Carrow Haunt by Darcy Coates. This is my favorite Darcy Coates book. It is set at this house called the Carrow House, and a group of people who want to investigate the house ask the girl who is the tour guide of the location if she will stay with them for a week at the location. I think it's a week, it might be 2. I don't know. Anyway, they ask if she'll stay there with them, so that if they have any questions about the different ghosts and things, if she'll stay and kind of walk them through everything. And she's like, absolutely. And then they get there, and then the shit starts happening, and then they realize they can't go anywhere because they're trapped on this island with the Carrow House, and shit gets real. I love this book. This is, again, my favorite Darcy Coates. It's fantastic. It's wonderful. It has all of the creepy vibes. It will give you the creeps. If you don't love it, I don't know why you wouldn't. But anyway, for my friends in genfic and historical fiction, I bring you Our Chemical Hearts by Crystal Sutherland. So, does this book have a romance? Kind of. Not really, but kinda. But this book is more about how our brains work, the way that we fall in love as teenagers, the way that we grow as teens, what is important to us, basically finding yourself and the real world and all of those things. This follows our main character, Henry Page, who is going to be the editor of the school's newspaper, something that he's been working towards for his entire high school career. He is asked into the office one day at the beginning of the school year and is told, actually, you're going to be the co-editor. This is Grace Town. She is the new girl in school. She came from another school, and she was also on track to be the editor of her school newspaper there. And so we're going to give you guys co-chairs so that, you know, neither one of you really wasted your steps to get here. Grace really doesn't want it, but the school is adamant that she takes the position. Grace says, fine, I'll do it, but I'm not writing anything. I will help you with all of the things, but I'm not writing anything. Henry knows there's something about Grace that is intriguing and interesting, but also you know? She's an enigma. She is the manic pixie dream girl. It is brought up throughout the book by other characters that she is a manic pixie dream girl, and that is what is great about it and why I'll allow it. But basically, this book follows Henry, his two best friends, Maas and Law, and their romantic escapades, and just total high school shenanigans. But it is very dark. There is a very dark, deep secret about Grace that you find out as the book goes on, that is heartbreaking. I have read this book probably 5 times, and every time I read it, I sob for the last like third of the book. So if you want to cry during the readathon, you could read this. Okay, so these are the 5 books, one for each genre, that for reasons you should read during the readathon. Again, if you have any questions about the Amazing Readathon, it is taking place in the month of June for the whole month. There are teams, there are genre-based teams, we are competing against each other. Somebody's gonna win, somebody's gonna lose. I'm not gonna be a winner, I'm not gonna be a loser, because I am a Loki variant, and therefore I get to be on all of the teams at some point, and I get to cause chaos. And if I have learned anything about my life, it is that I am nothing if not a chaos gremlin, and so I'm leaning hard into that today. That is all I have for today. I post reading, writing, book, and planner related content a couple of times a week. If you don't want to miss anything I have going on in the future, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell down below. And until then, I will see you guys next time. Bye!